How Taoist wisdom cures the 8 traps of self-sabotage. Hello, so glad to have you here. Do you ever feel like life is passing by and you're stuck in the same place? That quiet voice inside that insists you could be more, do more, feel more, but something holds you back. You're not alone. We live in a world that pushes us towards inertia, towards good enough, towards I'll do it later. But the truth is, the potential for a vibrant, purposeful life already exists within you. Today we're going to uncover the invisible traps that keep us bound, the comfort zone that deceives us, the insatiable pursuit of perfection that paralyzes us, and even the fear of looking stupid that prevents us from growing. I'll guide you through a path of ancient wisdom, adapted to our daily challenges so you can finally break free from these chains. Prepare for a journey of discovery that will show you how the lightness of action and the acceptance of your humanity can be your greatest fuel for transformation. Have you ever found yourself in a routine that, while not bad, doesn't really lead you anywhere? That comfortable plateau where life happens on autopilot without great peaks of joy or challenges that push you forward. Perhaps you feel a disguised tiredness, a sense that something is missing, even if you have the basics to live. The danger isn't the routine itself, but the subtle trap it builds, making us believe that good enough is sufficient. It's like being on a beautiful beach, but never actually stepping into the water. This inertia becomes an addiction. The mind gets used to predictability, the body gets comfortable, and the flame of curiosity and adventure slowly fades. You know you could go further, that a world of possibilities awaits, but the resistance to change becomes a burden too heavy to lift. Do you recognize yourself in this scenario? What if I told you that the key to breaking this cycle lies in understanding the nature of your own mind? Today, we're going to delve deep into the 8 invisible prisons that prevent us from living our most authentic and full version of life. We will unmask the paralysis of perfection that stops you from starting, the victim mentality that robs you of power, the chronic comparison that steals your peace, the pursuit of instant gratification that sabotages your future, the fear of looking stupid that paralyzes you, the overthinking that drowns you in worries, and the pursuit of approval that distances you from yourself. Prepare to question your certainties and make space for a new way of being and acting. The comfort zone isn't comfortable. It's a gilded cage. The comfort zone disguises itself as security. It promises stability, absence of risks, a safe harbor where nothing bad can happen. But in truth, it's a trap. Think of a bird in a gilded cage. It has food, shelter, but it doesn't know the immensity of the sky, the breeze on its wings. Similarly, we deprive ourselves of experiences, learning, and growth when we refuse to go beyond what we already know. The problem isn't being comfortable, but remaining motionless when life calls for movement. Stagnation leads to atrophy. Just like an unused muscle, our capacity for adaptation and our courage diminish. Have you ever felt that pang of regret for not trying something? That's your soul yearning for more, for breaking free from inertia. What might you be missing out on by not allowing yourself to explore the unknown? The Tao teaches us about flow, impermanence. Water, in its natural state, always seeks the path of least resistance. But it never stands still. It bypasses obstacles, adapts, and flows towards the ocean. What is your ocean? What is holding you back from flowing towards it? The paralysis of perfection, the enemy of a perfect start. How many times have you put off starting something because you didn't feel ready? The idea that everything needs to be impeccable, aligned, and flawless, even before taking the first step, is one of the biggest saboteurs of our era. The paralysis of perfection is an illusion that sells us the promise of a result without effort or error. But in practice, it condemns us to inaction. It's like wanting to learn to swim without ever getting in the water, hoping that the perfect technique will appear through osmosis. This incessant search for an unattainable ideal is, in reality, a disguise for fear. Fear of making mistakes, fear of being judged, fear of not being good enough. But real growth happens in trial and error, in adaptation, in the resilience to move forward, even with failures. The Tao reminds us that imperfection is intrinsic to existence. It's the wabi-sabi of life. Beauty lies in cracks, in the marks of time, in the authenticity of what is imperfect. What is more valuable, the fantasy of an unattainable perfection or the reality of tangible progress, even if imperfect? What small step can you take today, even if it's not perfect, to start walking the path you desire? Victim mentality, handing over the steering wheel of your life. Have you ever caught yourself complaining about circumstances, blaming fate, your boss, the economy, or even the weather for your problems? The victim mentality traps us in a cycle of powerlessness where we believe we are mere passengers in life with no control over our own path. It's like being in a drifting boat, accepting that the current will take you wherever it pleases without even trying to row. This perspective strips us of responsibility and with it, the power to change. When we see ourselves as victims, we transfer to external factors the ability to impact our happiness and success. But the Tao teaches us that although we cannot control the winds, we can adjust the sails. Life will always bring us challenges, but our reaction to them is always a choice. What narrative are you telling yourself about your life? What if you swapped the role of victim for that of protagonist? Where can you take control, even if it's a small adjustment in your way of thinking? Chronic comparison, the thief of your inner peace. In a world of infinite feeds and perfect lives on social media, it's easy to fall into the trap of chronic comparison. We see the edited highlights of others' happiness, dream trips, brilliant careers, sculpted bodies, and instantly feel inadequate, left behind, or simply less than. It's like looking at a masterpiece and comparing it to your first sketch, forgetting that every stroke there has its own story. This incessant comparison steals our peace and the joy of our own journey. The Tao teaches us about the individuality of the path. Each person has their own time, their own lessons, their own mountains to climb. The grass on your neighbor's side may look greener, but you don't know the amount of fertilizer or the quality of the soil. And more importantly, your own grass needs your focus and attention to flourish. What would happen if, instead of comparing yourself to others, you only compared yourself to who you were yesterday? What small progress have you made today that brings you closer to who you want to be, regardless of what others are doing? Instant gratification, trading lasting for ephemeral. We live in the era of everything now. Notifications, fast deliveries, on-demand entertainment. This culture has conditioned us to seek immediate pleasure, the reward that arrives without waiting. And while this brings momentary comfort, it often distances us from larger, more significant, and lasting goals. Trading studying for another episode of a series, the gym for a sweet treat, or financial planning for an impulsive purchase. It's like eating fast food every day, tasty in the moment, but harmful in the long run. Instant gratification is an obstacle to growth because it prevents us from cultivating discipline and patience, essential virtues for any real achievement. The Tao teaches us about planting and harvesting. No fruit tree is born in a day. It requires care, time, and the ability to endure the process to enjoy the fruits. What are you sacrificing in the future in exchange for fleeting pleasure in the present? What could you start building today with small, consistent efforts to reap great results tomorrow? Fear of looking stupid, the muzzle of curiosity. The fear of making mistakes, of asking a silly question, of not knowing enough, is an invisible block that prevents us from learning and growing. How many times have you stayed silent in a meeting, didn't ask something in class, or gave up on trying something new for fear of others' judgment? This fear of looking stupid is one of the most subtle and paralyzing traps, as it condemns us to ignorance for fear of showing our humanity. It's like not wanting to learn to walk for fear of falling, but the truth is, no one is born knowing everything. Learning is a continuous process of trial, error, and correction. The Tao values the humility of the learner, the open mind to the unknown. The greatest sages are those who recognize the vastness of what they don't know. And believe me, most people are too worried about their own insecurities to pay much attention or criticize what you do. What are you failing to learn to try to experience out of fear of what others might think? What if you embraced childlike curiosity, the willingness to explore without fear of falling? Overthinking, the prison of the noisy mind. Thinking is essential, planning is important. But overthinking, constant rumination, the exhaustive analysis of every detail can become a prison. Have you ever found yourself trapped in an endless cycle of what if, but what if, I wonder if? This overthinking paralyzes us, drowning us in a sea of possibilities and anxieties, preventing us from acting. It's like having a perfect map, but never leaving the spot for fear that the road might not be exactly as drawn. Most learning happens in practice, in action, in doing. The Tao teaches us about the wisdom of intuitive action, of Wu Wei, where action arises from the present moment without the burden of excessive control or paralyzing analysis. Trust the flow, take the first step, and adjust course as needed. Life is a river, not a static diagram. Where is overthinking preventing you from acting? What if you trusted your intuition a little more and took a small step, even without having all the answers? Seeking approval, disconnecting from your truth. Living according to others' opinions is an exhausting path. When our self-esteem and choices depend on external validation, applause, recognition, acceptance from others, we become vulnerable. A criticism, a look of disapproval, can shake our entire structure. It's like building a house on quicksand, hoping it will stand despite the storms. Taoist wisdom invites us to cultivate authenticity, to find our own inner compass. What others think of you is their problem, not yours. The value you place on yourself, the trust you build within yourself, are the only truly unshakable pillars. This inner strength is not built with praise, but with the honesty of being who you are, even if it displeases some. What would you do differently if others' approval wasn't a factor? What if you started listening more to your inner voice and less to the chorus of external expectations? What does your soul truly want? Conclusion. Notice that all these prisons have something in common. They distance us from our own essence, from our innate ability to flow and adapt. Taoist wisdom is not about making big revolutions, but about small internal adjustments, about the art of moving with life, not against it. Wu Wei is not inaction, it is aligned action without unnecessary effort, without the resistance that exhausts us. Start small, take a step, accept the imperfection of beginning, allow yourself to be a beginner. Honor your own pace and your journey without comparing yourself. Disconnect from the external noise and reconnect with your own voice. True freedom is not in a distant future, but in your ability to choose, today, to step out of autopilot and live with more awareness. Life is a constant invitation to transformation, and every small step out of inertia is an act of courage, a return to your true nature. Are you ready to restart? If this video made you reflect, like, comment, I restart, and subscribe. This helps keep this message alive.